Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Fine.
Give us your name and DOC number, please.
I'm Johnathan Jackson, DOC number 456331.
All right, Mr. Jackson, my name is Pearl Wise. To my left is Mr. Roche, and to my right is Mr. Freeman. We comprise your panel this morning. Let me explain the process to you. Into the record. Afterwards, we're going to conduct the interview with you, start with Mr. Freeman. He was assigned your case. After we complete our interview, we're going to ask the warden to make any comments, anything he would like for us to know. Then after the warden, you got some supporters here, we're going to give them an opportunity to speak. And then after they speak, and there's no further testimony, you make a closing statement. You make a final statement telling us whatever you want us to know, and then we'll render our decision. And do you understand the?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me go ahead and call out your visitors. You have your sister here, Miss Michelle Jackson, who will be speaking, and you have a friend, Antonio Sapp, who is a friend and he's supporting, but he's not speaking. They are also attending this here. And let me read the information for the record. Your name. Daniel Jackson, DOC numbers 456331. You're a fourth felony offender. Your charge is possession of Schedule 2 habitual offender. You were sentenced on April the 19th of 2016. Your total DOC time is 30 years. Your parole eligibility date 9/2/2022. Your good time date is listed as March the 6th of 2044. And you have a full term date of March the 1st of 2045. That sound about right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you.
Good. Mr. Freeman.
Okay, Mr. Jackson, how old are you?
40 years old.
Okay, and how long have you been in jail on this time? This charge.
8 years and 2 months.
Okay, what's the longest period you ever served in jail?
Maybe a year and a half, 2 years at the most.
So this is the first time I call it, you've really done time.
Yes, sir.
All up jail times were at the local level?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's your educational level?
My education, I'm in school, which I graduated from an E level to a D level. So I am making progress in school.
Okay.
Did you go to?
Oh, I started 8th grade.
8th grade.
Okay. Okay, and he is trying, Warden, to get further on that education.
Yes, sir, he's in academic school. He is in
Right.
academic school, taking pre-high set classes.
Good. Okay, you got caught selling drugs to an undercover officer. Were you a user or a dealer or both?
I was both of them, sir.
And how old were you when you started using drugs?
I say more of the harder drugs is when I was maybe 19 or 20 when I got older.
Let me ask you this, I read the report, a lot of it was $20 transaction, $40 transaction. What's the biggest transaction you ever made when it comes to drugs?
It's a small amount, 20 to $40.
You never sold for over 100? Be honest with me.
I have at one time, I have.
Okay. I'm looking at the law enforcement and one judge had no comment, district attorney is opposed. The sheriff, Stephen Williams, is opposed, the chief, Steve Rogers, is opposed. Your family, Reuben Jackson, your mother, is unopposed. Do you consider yourself a drug addict?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know you'll always be a drug addict?
Yes, sir.
what you plan to do about it if we were to release you today? What would be your sobriety plan?
Well, I will keep on attending my NAAA programs as well as I've been doing here, because it seems like, you know, it really works for me. The NAAA program where you can open up and share and give positive feedback and being honest. And I think it is working for me, sir.
Okay. You have any children?
Yes, sir. I have a son that's 8 years old.
Okay, do you have contact with your son?
Yes, sir. I talk to him every week.
Okay, you have an arrest record back to California, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what was going on in California? It's like there was a little violence over there back in 2006.
I was still trying to define myself, sir, using drugs and move from a different state, thinking it'd change me, but it didn't. I still had the same problems. I tried to run from, but I still had the same problems there.
Okay, at your last parole hearing, I think it was Miss Wise asked you to complete a class. Did you complete that class?
Yes, sir, I have. That was substance abuse. Yes, sir, I have.
Yeah, Living in Balance 1 and 2, you completed. Also, I see you completed victim awareness. What did you learn from victim awareness?
My victim awareness, I learned that that the people that I did harm was not only a victim, I was a victim as well as them also. You know, and I learned that to be honest and and stop doing those things I used to do. That I did affect a lot of
You
lives.
wouldn't want trying to introduce your 8-year-old son to drugs, correct?
Sir, I can't hear you.
I say if somebody tried to introduce your son to drugs, that'd probably make you pretty mad, huh?
Yes, sir, it will. Yes, sir.
So you realize what you was doing to other families,
Yes, sir, I did.
okay? Your custody is medium, your risk need is low. You've only had 2 disciplinary reports. And you have a good institutional record. Your last disciplinary report was 2019 for contraband, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What was the contraband?
The contraband was methamphetamines.
Okay, did you have your?
There was a positive test. There was a positive drug test, urinalysis test. Wasn't like he got caught with meth. He just failed a drug test.
Okay. All right, and you took your living in balance after that.
Yes, sir.
You'd already taken Celebrate Recovery. You think you need any more treatment?
I mean, it wouldn't hurt. Only thing it could do is make me better.
Treatment today, would you accept it?
Yes, sir, I would.
Okay. What's your current job at the prison?
At the prison, I go to school from Monday through Friday, and I'm also a dorm oiler to help out in the dorm, dealing with the restroom and in the common area. I clean up.
Okay. Why should I consider you today? What's changed in your life?
My mindset. I don't have the same mindset I once had. And I do consider what others think about me now. I used to didn't care what somebody thought about me, but I really do care how people judge me and how people view me.
Warden, you have any comments for me?
Y'all pretty much touched on everything, Mr. Freeman. He's been here going on 7 years. He's had those 2 write-ups you mentioned. He's been actively involved in programming. He's earned over 400 days of CTRP credit, taking courses such as Living in Balance and things like that. He's also completed the 100 hours reentry. And then he's currently enrolled in school, working towards a high school's diploma or high set test. He's shown improvement in that area. He's advanced a couple of levels in his educational testing. So he's been doing well here. Those 2 write-ups he had, last one was in 2019. He's been drug tested several times since he's been here, and that's the only drug test that he failed during the time that he's been at David Wade. So I think that shows that he's not a regular user or hasn't been using it regularly at this institution, because we have drug tested him a number of times, and that's the only one he's failed. So he's done well here. He's remained positive, and he's tried to improve his condition and improve his success rates if he is given opportunity, or when he's given opportunity to re-enter society. He's working, all the things he's working on are positive towards that goal, I believe, Mr. Freeman.
And thank you, Warden Goodwin. Actually, just your opinion, Warden Goodwin, do you think he would benefit from more treatment prior to release, or do you think he's reached the point to where he can get the treatment on the streets?
No, I think some additional treatment would certainly be beneficial. He is a 5th offender, I believe, as the record indicates, and the majority of all of his offenses are drug related, and he's admitted that he's a user as well as a seller. So I certainly think that some additional substance use programming would be beneficial, and not only to him, but to the general public upon his release.
I thank you, Warden Goodwin. I have no further. I have no recommendation for the board.
Okay, Mr. Jackson, I have a couple of questions. How would you support yourself if you granted release?
My plan is to go out and go to truck driving school and get my CDL so I can drive locally, so I can be home with my son every day.
Oh, okay. What kind of jobs have you had? Have you ever had a job?
No, I didn't. No, ma'am. Not on the streets, I didn't.
Okay, so that'll be a new thing for you too.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When you were in school, when you were in regular classes in school?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Okay. Did you ever get SSI or anything like that
No, ma'am.
coming up? Okay. All right. Do you remember why you said at 18 or 19 you started using hard drugs? So when did you first take a drink of alcohol? How old were you?
Maybe 16, 17.
What about marijuana?
Marijuana by 16, 17.
Oh, okay, okay. And what grade were you in at 16 or 17?
6th, 7th grade.
So why were you behind in school?
Why are you behind?
Because I kept coming back and forth in and out of jail from LTI. I kept going back and forth from jail, in and out of jail.
Oh,
So I never
okay.
did complete school.
Oh, okay. And you had opportunities for school at LTI as well.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
What kind of crimes were you committing as a juvenile?
Possession of cocaine, selling cocaine,
So most of your lifestyle has been drug dealing.
drug dealing and drug using. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, thank you. That answers my question. We can hear from Ms. Michelle Jackson at this time, your sister.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Don't go. Yes, ma'am, we can. Give us your name again, your relationship, and tell us what you want us to know about your brother.
I'm Michelle Jackson, and that's, like I said, that's my brother. I just wanted to come on here and just say that I feel like from the conversations that we have been previously having, I feel like he's changed. He's a more positive person. He's a better person. I feel like he'll be a better dad toward his, his son. And I feel like as he's getting older, he's starting to value life more different. He's a more positive person now. And I just feel like he needs another chance. That's all. I pray that he gets another chance to be with his son.
All right,
And to be
thank
with
you.
his family. You're welcome.
Ma'am, you said what?
I said, and to be with his family.
Right, thank you. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. And we
Okay.
really had family input, family support. All
Okay.
right, Mrs. Jackson, what you want us to know, Mr. Jackson, before we vote? Johnathan Jackson?
I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak, to share and be honest with you today. And whatever decision you make, I pray it be of God. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Well said. Ms. Freeman?
Okay, Mr. Jackson, I do think you were honest with me today. I asked those questions at the beginning for specific reasons. A lot of times people can be high felony offenders, but they never really serve time. You don't get much out of the parish jails, but frankly, they can't afford it. So my vote today, after speaking with the warden, is to grant your parole conditional on you completing the Steve Hoyle program. So once you would complete that program, it's either 6 to 9 months, you complete it, and then you'll get out on parole with the special conditions that you follow any recommended treatment that they have, and you have a curfew of 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Freeman. Mr. Roche?
Good morning, Mr. Jackson. It's afternoon now, Mr. Jackson. How you doing?
Sir? All right.
Mr. Jackson, sometimes a mother always used to tell me, when you make a hard bed, sometimes you gotta sleep in it. You're a fifth felony offender. You got a 30-year sentence and you hadn't served but 8 years. You hadn't served 1/3 of your sentence yet. You have a violent history. You have several arrests for violence with family members and elderly people. You have assault. You have poor supervision. You've been revoked on 3 different occasions. In my opinion, you hadn't served enough time, and you need to take the rest of the time to work on your GED. And I'd like to see you get that GED before you release, so that you will have a larger span of possibilities to get employment when you are released. For all those reasons, I deny your request.
You have 1 vote to grant and 1 vote to deny. I was on your last panel, and I'm glad to see that you are working hard on that high set. But in light of the window of time that you were given, your behavior resulted in that 30-year sentence. So my vote is to deny as well. I'd like to see you go ahead and get that high set before you get out. What supervision history? And again, insufficient time served based on the sentence that you were given. So for those reasons, but again, I urge you to reapply, stay the course, continue to work on that high set and reapply when you're eligible. I know my vote will be different at that time. But for me, you have 2 votes to deny and 1 vote to grant. So you've been denied today. But again, reapply, stay positive.
Yes, ma'am.